U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright told reporters on a visit to Riyadh that the U.S. and Saudi Arabia will sign a preliminary agreement to cooperate over the kingdom's ambitions to develop a civil nuclear industry. The Energy Secretary confirmed there would be a 1, 2, 3 agreement that will accomplish both the Saudi objectives and the American objectives. The so-called 1, 2, 3 agreement with Riyadh refers to Section 1, 2, 3 of the U.S. Atomic Energy Act of 1954 and is required to permit the U.S. government and American companies to work with entities in the kingdom to develop a civil nuclear industry. Though Saudi Arabia is one of the world's largest oil exporters, the establishment of a nuclear energy program is to support the kingdom's economic diversification away from oil and gas as part of its Vision 2030 plan. Discussions of U.S. cooperation on a Saudi civilian nuclear program have occurred under the broader context of U.S. security guarantees and Israeli-Saudi normalization. This agreement also comes as the U.S. is demanding that Iran dismantles every trace of its nuclear program. The announcement by the U.S. Energy Secretary indicates that progress is being made towards an Abraham Accord between Saudi Arabia and Israel, as that is a requirement to get U.S. support for a civil nuclear program. The U.S. is planning to withdraw up to half of its 2,000 troops stationed in Syria over the next several months. The U.S. presence in Syria over the last decade was minimal, as it was able to enlist the help of the regional nations in maintaining control over Syria. U.S. forces provided support to Kurdish forces as they battled with ISIS from 2013. Now that Kurdish forces have agreed to integrate into the new government in Damascus, the U.S. can decrease its military presence in the country. The U.S.-Israeli alliance overthrew the regime of Bashar al-Assad in order to cut Hezbollah's supply lines that ran from Iran through Syria to Lebanon. This has led to Iran to lose its influence over Syria and has seen Israel expand into the country. Whilst many see the withdrawal of U.S. troops as a loss of influence, the Ahmad al-Sharaa government has been given full blessing by the U.S. when it overthrew the regime. It was the U.S. who organized the rebel groups with Turkey to overthrow the regime back in 2024. The U.S. presence in Syria has been through its influence over the regional nations rather than its physical presence. Ahmed al-Sharaa, the new leader of the country, is someone the U.S. has known since his days in Camp Bucca prison in Iraq back in 2005. With the Kurds integrating into the government, the U.S. doesn't need a large military presence in the country. Pakistan and Bangladesh held their first foreign secretary-level talks in 15 years in Dhaka. Since the popular uprising that ousted Bangladesh's former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina in August 2024, relations between Pakistan and Bangladesh have warmed, leading to notable improvements in trade and bilateral ties. The last round of foreign secretary-level talks between Pakistan and Bangladesh in 2015 addressed sensitive issues that remain unresolved, including Bangladesh's demand that Pakistan offer an unconditional apology for its 1971 war crimes and compensation for war damages, as well as Pakistan's demand that Bangladesh repatriate stranded Pakistanis. With direct shipping already in place and growing interest from businesses on both sides, Bangladesh is looking to deepen trade ties with Pakistan, particularly in sectors like textiles and essential commodities. As local traders seek more competitive pricing and diversified sources of raw materials, Pakistan is poised to emerge as a complementary supplier alongside China. Whilst the Hasina government was close to India, since her overthrow, the interim government led by Muhammad Yunus has seen China and Pakistan as partners rather than India.